Okay. Can you just give me a yes or no?
All right, good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, guests tonight. I'd like to welcome everyone to the April 25th business meeting of the Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees. The board has been in open session, but we'll continue with the public portion. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the entire board present. We'll conduct business as scheduled. At this time, entertain additions and deletions to the agenda. We have two of them on the docket. Consent agenda. And requesting the board consider adding item number 3 to the consent agenda at the request of the township attorney, and it's the amendment to the T-Mobile lease agreement. Okay, moved by supervisor, seconded by Treasurer Van Ost. Discussion among the board. None offered. Those in favor of approving or the addition of adding a consent agenda item number 3, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. That will be added. And I'm also requesting the board consider the addition of action item number 5, and that will be an action to allow the township attorney to proceed with settlement negotiations with Vortex.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Budney.
Second.
Second by Trustee Posiak. Discussion among the board? None offered. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. That will be added to the agenda. Also, any other additions and deletions to the agenda? Okay, with none offered, those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The agenda stands amended. With that, open up to our presentation tonight.
A brief public comment.
Public comment, and then I've got 2 lists of sequence here. So we'll open up to public comment first on tonight's action items. And with none offered, I will close public comment on tonight's action items, and then I will invite Ms. Lilikesh, Joanne Lilikesh, Superintendent of Grosse Ile Township Schools, for presentation. Ms. O'Connor, would you show her how to raise the podium? You know how to work that thing, or actually Brandy, Miss Boyd. She's tall. Okay.
No.
It sounds awfully quiet.
That was 4th grader that turned that on for me. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and I thank you for an opportunity to speak to you on behalf of the schools. I've been away for 12 years, and it's really good to be back, left as a teacher and to come back as a superintendent. It's kind of a full circle thing for me. So my kindergarten, I have to tell this to everyone, my kindergartners are graduating this year. So that makes it kind of exciting for me. With me this evening, I'd like to just recognize 3 board members, our treasurer, John Gaddy, our secretary, Suzanne Sasek, trustee Dan Murphy behind me, and then 2 of the committee members, bond community committee members. I have Tony Kurkowski, our retired business manager, and Tom Brown, who was a former teacher, coach, and at one time was our superintendent here on Grosse Ile. So I appreciate the fact that they were able to make it out tonight, and they've been done a significant job helping us with our campaign. So I have just a short presentation for you tonight, just to give you some information about bond. We have worked very hard to get the information out there. I just want to start by saying a community is only as good as their schools, and the schools are only as good as their community. So it's really important that we work together. When you talk to people, 99% of people will tell you they moved here either for the community or schools, and that is really important because it is a partnership. Our bond is our bond proposal is somewhat of a story about student safety, about the learning environment, and really taking care of our schools. The election is on May 3rd on Tuesday, and we were asking for $250,000 in that bond proposal. And we think about things like boilers and repairing potholes and roofs and technology. And really, it's about the kids, the grandkids, and the community members. They're the main reason for this important election. Back in 2006, when the bond was passed, there was a beautiful renovation to the high school. That wasn't done just for those students that were members of high school at that time. That takes us up to the future. 10 years ago, our students have gone through and have taken advantage of some of those changes and some of those renovations that have improved not only facilities but the learning environment. It will improve the learning environment for every student, and it will also improve the safety. And every facility in the district will be affected by projects. Voters will approve a $250,000, so you will pay the same that you paid between 2010 and 2015. The sinking fund passed last year at 70.75 mils. This will bring it up to 1 mil is what we were asking for last year. So if you live in a $250,000 home, it's about $31.25 a year, or 8 cents a day. And if you live in a $500,000 home, it's about 17 cents per day. All of the projects have been approved by Treasury. Treasury came out, reviewed our list of projects, needs and wants. Everything that we're doing is a need to keep the facilities upgraded and in good working order. All the work that's being done is necessary. It's not frivolous purchases. It is to really keep our buildings upgraded, working well, keeping our student learning environment safe and interactive so that we can increase our student achievement. We really basically have 4 categories that we're looking at. The first is improving student safety and student security. Some of those things in student safety, we're looking at our track that is used by the community, our tennis courts. Our track was installed back in 2006. It's gotten about 7 or 8 years beyond its life expectancy because we have worked very hard. Some kudos go to Tony Kurkowski, who did a great job of repairing that and keeping it in good working order. But the time has come to replace that track. Same thing with our tennis courts. Our bleachers, safety issue. Most of you have attended probably some of our football games. Our bleachers are older, but they're still in compliance. But there's a safety issue because the back risers are open. A child could easily fall through. So we're going to secure those without replacing them. We're going to secure those with risers in the back, and we will anchor those down so they become compliant in future years and they become safe for our students. Lighting around the buildings. In the evenings, when we ask parents to come to assemblies and things of that nature, we bring in students after school activities. If it's dark, there's not a lot of lighting around the buildings, so we want to increase that so it's a safer environment when you're coming and going. Behind our buildings, especially at Park Lane, it backs up to a field. There are no cameras or lights back there. It encourages kids to go back there and do things that we sometimes aren't very happy with. So that'll give us an opportunity to deter that kind of behavior. Upgrading technology in our infrastructure. Beginning next fall, all schools will be required to administer state assessments online. No more paper and pencil tests. So we have to administer a test to all 3rd through 11th graders online during the same window of time. We need to upgrade our infrastructure so that we will be able to do that. The other thing is, one of our charges from the state is to make sure our students are career and college ready. When kids go to college, they no longer turn in a paper to their instructor. Sometimes they don't have a lot of face-to-face time with their instructor. Everything is done electronically. We need to create those kinds of environments for our students so that they will be successful when they enter the work world, when they enter college. And it does not, I'd like to point out that we are not putting a handheld device in every child's hand. We are looking at a systematic, strategic purchase of our technology so it lasts us throughout the years, and we make sure the staff is prepared and trained in using that technology, and we have a component to train our parents so that they can help their children be successful. Number 3 is replacing those boilers and roofs and other facility components. We have some windows at the high school that need to be replaced. We have some outer doors that need to be replaced. Our lockers in the building are old. When they redid the middle school, They use refurbished lockers. Those have seen the life we can probably get out of them. They're becoming dangerous because they have jagged edges and they don't close all the way. So those are the kinds of things that when you think of a bond, that's what you think about. Those are the things you replace. And then, of course, it's our athletic facilities. Not only safe for our students and for the students that come here to compete against us, but for our community members that walk track, that use the tennis courts, that attend our athletic facilities. It's designed to protect the community's investment in its schools. We have really good schools on Grosse Ile, and I don't think there was anyone that would disagree with that. And so voter approval with the bond would help us continue to taking care of our schools. We serve nearly 2,000 students, and we want to make it a safe, interactive environment for those students. So we have a vote on May 3rd that we're letting people know that it's to improve our schools and improve the community, so to speak. I have left some frequently asked questions on the back table. When we get calls, we get emails from community members asking questions. We put it on our frequently asked questions, and we update that periodically. Because if one person has a question, we know that 2 or 3 do as well. And then we give you some of our fact cards that are out there. So I don't know if you have any questions, but I told you I would keep it nice and short for you.
From the board, questions, comments for Ms. Lilikash?
I just have a comment. Thank you for coming and making use of this. I think this is a good way. The school board was nice enough to let us go to their meeting when we did the road millage and make a presentation. But for our residents out there and for our voters, 2 things very important. Number one, just get out and vote. But probably even more important, and can't encourage it enough, understand what you're voting about. Talk to the people who are putting it together. Talk to your school, in this case, and if there's something you don't understand, it's not just asking you for money, it's asking you for something with a real purpose behind it. So make sure you're educated, regardless of how you vote. Make sure you're educated as to how you're voting.
Thank you. Very well said.
Thank you, Mr. Budney. Other comments from the board? Couple minutes. Is there anybody? I will open up. This is big. So, are there any questions from? If you're willing to take questions from the public present, if anybody.
I would also like to point out that on Wednesday we have a town hall meeting at the high school at 7 o'clock. We will be presenting a little different presentation with some more photos and things to show you exactly those projects. And then we will be doing a little budget update to talk about the status of our budget and where we are. So everyone is welcome to come. And we have on our Facebook page and on our website, we have 4 videos. The last one will be shown tomorrow, and it is a video explaining each of these 4 areas. Student safety, technology, the facilities, and the athletics. And you can easily access that through Facebook or our website.
Apparently you sold everybody in the audience.
That's good. That was my job. That's why I came tonight.
So I'll call that a fine job. Thank you, Mr. Lilikash.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
Coming out. And so that will conclude our presentation. Moving on, we'll step to the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I'd like to request a motion for consent agenda. Let me find it here a minute. I know we got one. Consent agenda 16-006. Which includes the approval of the minutes of the April 11th, 2016 regular meeting, approval of the check register through April 22nd, 2016, and the ad site lease agreement between T-Mobile and Grosse Ile Township.
Support.
Okay, moved by Treasurer Van Oss, seconded by Trustee Budd. Questions, comments among the board regarding tonight's consent agenda? Okay, with none offered, those in favor approving the consent agenda as amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered. The consent agenda is approved. With that, we'll move on to tonight's action items, and most of them involve Trustee Malvesto. So we're going to turn the next 4 items over to Trustee Malvesto.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. If you'll bear with me here, our action item number 1, the proposed motion Based on a recommendation of the Recreation Director and the Community Recreation Commission, the Groseal Township Board adopt the 2016 through 2020 Recreation Master Plan and Resolution.
Support.
Okay, moved by Trustee Malvesto. I'll give the support to Trustee Smith.
Would you like me to read the history?
Yes, please.
History and purpose, all right? The Recreation Master Plan is a map to guide the Recreation Department over the next 5 years. The previous Recreation Master Plan was adopted in 2011 and formed the basis of this plan. The 2016 update includes an evaluation of parks, facilities, and programming to update the Township's action plan and determine where future improvements should be made. Consideration is given to the State of Michigan's Department of Natural Resources, the MDNR, guidelines for development of parks and recreation master plans, which requires a 5-year cycle for recreation planning. Brandy, would you like it's up to you. Would you like to make a statement, or it's entirely up to you.
And we'll keep her up here because we're going to ask her comments on the next item also.
The 5-year master plan, the CRC has been working since December to put together the master plan. We worked with LSL Planning, and we held 3 community input sessions plus a
Public hearing.
public meeting. Thank you. Brain freeze. And so we got a lot of public input, which was very important. And one of the things that Brian, who is our community planner, said that Groseal does more community input meetings than most communities do. So that just shows the value we have in our community and wanting to find out what they really want from their recreation department. So pulling all the information, plus we did a survey. We had over 300 people turn in the survey. So there was a lot of public input into the master plan, and then updating the information that we had from the previous 5-year plan. So updating the facilities, bike paths, anything that was new recreationally based in the community was incorporated into this master plan. So it has been open to the public for 2 months now. So we've had the ability for people to have public input on the document. The Township Board has had an opportunity, and so has the CRC. So we're very proud of the plan, and we look forward to hopefully instituting some of the items that we have in the plan.
Questions, comments from the board? We just concluded a study session, kind of an ongoing. Board has been reading the plan, looking over, seeing how it fits into what the board considers the township's plans. Made a couple of recommendations. Some changes were adopted. We did have a study session tonight. I think we got the final items on the table. I think we're all ready to move forward. Mr. Posiask, you had...
Just a comment. It was very, very nicely put together. Thank you.
So, Mr. Budney.
I just want to reiterate what I said in the study session, that this is a map. We're not required to do anything in it. It's not binding us to anything, but it gives us an outline where we can go. And it's important because of grants that we can get. We have to have this. So I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Mr. Budney. Other comments from the board? All right, none offered. Let's see, now I got to go. Yeah.
Time out too quickly.
You want to read the resolution?
No, you just do roll call, though, I think.
Oh, okay. So, as this does, as this is via resolution, I'll ask for a roll call vote, but the motion is based on the recommendation of the Recreation Director of the Community Recreation Commission. Groseal Township Board adopts the 2016-2020 Recreation Master Plan and Resolution. And I'll start the roll call. I'll start with Mrs. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Budney.
Aye.
Treasurer Van Oss.
Aye.
Supervisor, aye. Clerk Ranka. Aye. Trustee Malvesto.
Aye.
Trustee Posiask.
Aye.
Well, then, with that, the motion carries, and the master plan is therefore adopted. Move us on to action item number 2. Mr. Malvesto.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, again. The subject is millage renewal for recreation. Recommended, excuse me here, there's a lot of numbers. To approve the attached resolution, including the following ballot language to be placed on the August 2nd, 2016 ballot. This is millage renewal for recreation program. Shall the expired, previously voted increase in total tax limitation imposed under Article 9, Section 6 of the Michigan Constitution in Groseal Township 1/2 mil, which is $50 per $1,000 of taxable value, reduced to .4995 mils, or, I'm sorry, you gotta bear with me here, 49995 cents per thousand, by the required millage rollbacks be renewed at .4995 mils. And levied for a period of 5 years from 2016 through 2020 inclusive, to provide funds for the operation of a township recreation program, writing an estimated $287,000 in the first calendar year the millage is levied.
Okay, the motion is from Trustee Malvestos. Support is from Clerk Ranka.
The history and explanation: the millage has expired, and currently expired, and needs to be renewed prior to the next tax collection cycle in December. This millage currently generates approximately $287,000 per year to provide funds for the day-to-day operation of the recreation department. So this is seriously. I'm sorry.
No, you're on a roll.
I'm sorry. This millage is very. It seriously needs to be passed to make sure that our recreation department and all the programs that it offers remain intact. Certainly hope that the residents realize this, and as it is renewal, I'd like to see it passed for the coming 5 years.
As we cannot throw too much support or recommendation for support, but putting the numbers out, make your. As you consider this for your vote in the August primary, without these funds, things will change. I mean, it's just as simple as that. It's $287,000. Our budget is tight, would be putting it kindly. Without that, things will change. So we, the board, will do what you, the residents, tell us to do. Questions, comments from the board?
So this millage and the next one we're going to talk about are for the next election cycle in August. The election next week on Tuesday is just the school board millage. Just a clarification.
Good point, because we're talking about 2 different elections and 3 millages. Doesn't divide evenly. Other questions, comments, clarifications from the board? All right.
Just again, this is just for the wording that's going to be on there, but again, I encourage all our voters to get out and understand what they're voting on. That's it.
Yeah, for just when we talk about, it was originally approved at 0.5 mils, and you see it reduced to 0.995. That's Headley rollback. It's an inflationary correction that's written into the state constitution. So. Why do we ask for 0.5 mil and only collect 0.4995? Well, we have to. That's just the way the Headley affects us now. A newer millage will be the exact millage that is proposed. Older ones will be reduced slightly. So if there's any questions on that, I hope I covered that. There's a difference between Headley considerations and Proposal A of 1994. They're 2 separate pieces of legislation incorporated into the Constitution. Stuff I didn't think I'd ever need to know, but we do have a very capable finance department, and she does make those distinctions and does things properly. Other questions, comments from the board? Verifications? With none offered, then. So those in favor of approving the resolution as previously read for ballot language to be placed on the August 2nd, 2016 ballot, the millage renewal for recreation program of 0.5 mils for 5 years, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None off. That will be added to the August primary. Thank you. Trustee Alvesto.
This will be the subject here is millage renewal for the fire department. It's an equipment fund. The recommended action is to approve the attached resolution, including the following ballot language to be placed on the August 2nd, 2016 ballot.
All right, moved by Trustee Malvesto, seconded by Treasurer Vanos.
Continue to read?
Yep.
Shall the expired previously voted increase in the total tax limitation imposed under Article 9, Section 6 of the Michigan Constitution in Groseal Township, 0.5 mils, reduced to 0.4995 mils, by the required millage rollbacks be reviewed at renewed at .4995 mils. Excuse me, it's a difficult reading. And levied for a period of 5 years from 2016 through 2020 inclusive, to provide funds for the acquiring of fire vehicles and other necessary fire equipment, raising an estimated $287,000 in the first calendar year the millage is levied.
Trustee Budney.
Just mine says 278,000.
I'm sorry, 278,000. I apologize.
Identical to the previous millage.
Yes.
Identical collection. Questions, comments from the board? Chief, could I ask you to explain? There are two fire millages. This is a fire equipment. The other is fire operating. And if you would, just for clarification, the distinction: what is fire equipment versus your fire operating?
The fire equipment millage that's on the ballot in August takes care of all our long-term plans for equipment replacement, along with day-to-day operations on destroyed, lost, equipment during fires and things of that nature, and things that just wear out. The operational millage is the bigger of the two, and that's what takes care of that. Helps take care of the facility, my wages, of course, the firemen's health care, and things of that nature. The equipment millage is strictly hard items like trucks and pumps and things of that nature, coats, gear, bunkers, hats, where the operational millage is all-encompassing, takes care of the entire department.
So the chief's long-range or his capital improvement plan is funded primarily through equipment, the equipment millage, right. And that's why we managed to have, how you managed to have first-rate equipment ready to go all the time.
Well, we try, fire department and the fire commission try to save for future major purchases, because as we well know, the fire service, everything that we purchase is big ticket items. I mean, fire trucks are $750,000 and things of that nature. So we try to save to that point over the 20-year period. That way we're not coming back to the taxpayers asking for $1.5 million when the aerial is time for replacement. So we try to plan for that replacement down the road.
Questions, comments on the millage or for the chief? Hey, none offered. Those in favor of approving the ballot resolution, including for the millage renewal for the fire department equipment for $0.5 for the period of 2016 through 2020, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. That will be on the August primary ballot also.
One more time, Mr. Supervisor.
Trustee Malvesto.
Okay, the action item is the Grosseal Yacht Club firework display. The proposed motion or recommended action is to approve, based on a recommendation of the Grosseal Township Fire Marshal, to grant a fireworks permit to Mike T. Enitzberger Wolverine Fireworks Display and Company to provide a public fireworks display on July 2nd with a rain date of July 3rd, 2016.
Support.
Okay, moved by Trustee Malvesto, and I think Trustee Budney was the first to second the motion. The first to offer support. I won't do that again. First to offer support to the motion. Background, please.
This is an annual event that takes place every year at around the 4th of July. It's a fireworks display that's at the Grosseal Yacht Club, and it's scheduled to start approximately 9:45 p.m. on the date July 2nd.
Questions, comments from the board? This will be anywhere near the magnitude of the Island Fest fireworks display, but this should be a good show. Other questions, comments from the board? With none offered, those in favor of following the recommendation of the Grosseal Township Fire Marshal, grant the fireworks permit to Mikey Anitzberger from Wolverine Fireworks Display to provide a public fireworks display on July 2nd with a rain day of July 3rd, 2016. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. That motion will carry. Move to Trustee Malvesto gets a break. I would request the Board of Trustees authorize the Township Attorney to pursue recovery of the deposit for the Splash Park project from Vortex Incorporated through settlement negotiations as directed in closed session.
Support.
Okay, moved by the Supervisor, seconded by Trustee Budney. The background, 28 September 2015 business meeting, the Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees voted to cancel the previously approved splash park project to be installed at the Water's Edge Pool Complex. Per the contract, a deposit of $125,061.60 was paid to Vortex Incorporated. Township Board is of the opinion that a majority of that deposit should be refunded, feels that a negotiated settlement subject to board approval will be in the best interest of the township. Much of this was discussed in the previous closed session. It's ongoing litigation. I don't know how many questions, any comments, additions from the board. We did discuss this very seriously over an extended period of time. Again, most of it was in closed session. Most of it's litigation, so there isn't really a whole lot we can say, is there? Those in favor, I'm sorry, questions, comments among the board. Trustee, our clerk.
Yeah. We can't say a whole lot about it right now, but certainly once we're finished with the process, we'll be full disclosure on where we're at.
Other comments from the board? Okay, with none offered, those in favor of authorizing the township attorney to pursue recovery of the deposit on the Splash Park project through settlement negotiations as directed in closed session, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered. We'll move along with that. And that will conclude tonight's action items. With that, we'll start the clerk's report. Clerk Ranka.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So we had a presentation from the school board at the beginning of the meeting, and the election that is relevant to is next Tuesday, May the 3rd. Sample ballots are posted on the clerk's webpage and are available in the clerk's office if you would like to read one. Because of a scheduling conflict at the St. James Church, which is precinct number 3, for the May election, we will need to different location as a temporary election precinct. So voters in Precinct 3 will be voting at the School District Administration Building, which is located behind the middle school, for this election day only. Every registered voting household within Precinct 3 will receive an informational letter providing more information about the location change during the week of April 18th, so you should have them already. Signs will be posted at St. James Church in the event that you forget and go there anyway to direct you back to the temporary location, which is behind the middle school on East River Road. The public accuracy test of the voting program and tabulator will be held at the clerk's office on Tuesday, April 26th at 3 p.m. And the clerk's office will be open Saturday, April 30th, this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. to issue absentee ballots to qualified voters and to accept delivery of voted ballots. The state of Michigan voter identification law is in effect. And qualified voters may also vote an absentee ballot at the clerk's office from 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Monday, May 2nd. Ballots must be voted and returned within the Township Hall if you choose to do that on this date. And just a reminder for the ID requirements, voters will be asked to provide identification when they visit the polls on Election Day. They will be asked to present a valid photo ID, such as a Michigan driver's license or identification card. Anyone who does not have an acceptable form of photo ID or failed to bring it with them to the polls may still vote. The person will be required to sign an affidavit of identity stating that he or she is not in possession of photo ID. The ballot will be included with all others and counted on Election Day. So hope to see you at the polls on the 3rd, and a special thanks in advance for all of our election inspectors and election staff.
Thank you, Clerk Ranka. Treasurer's report. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. For the month of March, Grosse Ile Township had $12,966,271 invested in various accounts. These accounts generated an interest income of $4,617, which is about 0.24%. It's getting a little better. Current breakdown of all of our investments throughout the township is available on the Grosse Ile website. Go to the Treasurer's website, and we give a complete breakdown. They're available anytime you want to look at them. The Treasurer's office continues to sell 2016 dog tags, and the dog park passes. Come to the office, see Annette or Andrea, and they will take care of issuing those. You're all aware of the project. If probably got your earmuffs on because the banging's been going on our runway now for about a week and a half. They made some great progress. We're doing 3 courses. There's a concrete cap of about 7 inches that they're taking off. And that's almost, the first half is almost done. Secondly, they'll be grinding the asphalt off, and then you'll hear the banging again for another week, week and a half while they break up the bottom course of this concrete. And then it'll be a matter of doing some elevation changes on the runway and bring in some asphalt trucks, and there'll be a lot of truck traffic. It hasn't been as bad as I thought it was going to be up to this point, but I'm sure it's going to get more complicated. We have received some complaints, not a lot. They're supposed to be working Monday through Saturday, and on Sunday. I heard one complaint today that they were working on Sunday. I do not know that that's a fact. I'll have to check that out tomorrow when I get in. The third Monday of next month is our Commerce Park meeting. That'd be a great time to come and voice any concerns or questions that you might have on the project. I have nothing else.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. We'll move on to trustee liaison reports, and start with Mrs. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Only 25 days. Can't believe it. It's finally green out and it's perking up. But where we could really use everybody's help is volunteers. At this point, we need volunteers to help man our information booth, to sell wristbands, as well as to work the check-in for vendors on Thursday. I'll be doing that, so if anybody wants to work with me, I'd love to have your company. But you can sign up a number of different ways. You can sign up actually through your Facebook if you go to volunteerspot.com. You can get immediate access going through that way, or you can just enter your email, whichever's easier for you. Or you can call the recreation department, and they can put you into a slot that works. This year we have a pancake breakfast that's going on both Saturday and Sunday morning starting at 9 o'clock, and it's $6 per person. Or here's the real value is if you want to come bring your family of 5, it's $25. So it's a real bargain, and for those who are going to be coming to the parade, you could always breakfast before the parade down at Island Fest. There are still VIP tickets for $60 per person available, or $20 for kids 12 and under, and that's for Friday evening fireworks, and that includes beer, wine, or soda. I also want to give a really heartfelt thank you to the commission because they've really worked very hard up until this point, and they're going to start working even harder because as we start loading in and tearing things down in the hangar and dressing up place, it's a ton of work. We could always use your help for that as well. But the commission has been working precariously towards this event, and we're really excited. And I also want to thank Chairman Chad Novak because without him, he's kind of the driver behind all this, and Brandy as well, so I want to thank you. But anyway, so we are, I'm going to do a rain dance for no rain. Is that what it is? A rain dance for no rain?
Whatever works.
Yeah, exactly. What was that? For rain. Oh, is it? Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense in the desert. Okay, that's basically concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. We'll move on. Trustee Budney.
Not a whole lot to report. We didn't have a DPS meeting this month. Our next one will be in May 10th, second Tuesday, and no ZBA this month. So I was given a reprieve from doing things. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Budney. Trustee Malvesto.
I'd just like to report that there will be a CRC meeting this Thursday at 7:30. Anybody'd like to attend it, just more than welcome. Brandy, anything big coming up there, or just... Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. Trustee Posiak.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. First of all, Dump to Junk, Find a Treasure is going to occur this Saturday and Sunday, and have the opportunity to do just that, dump your junk and perhaps find something that you can use there. Be advised there are no electronics to be collected at this event this time. And the other thing that I'd like you to be careful about is that because of the runway work, there has been some alteration to the way that the site will be set up with roll-off boxes and such. Watch yourself, be careful as you drive around. The boxes will be on the other side of the DPW building this time, and might be a little confusing, but we've got some volunteers there that'll be helping to guide you through and make it a worthwhile event. Tomorrow night we have a study session, and it's a joint study session, one that I happen to be very excited about because Greenway Open Space, BPAC, and Groseal Nature and Land Conservancy are meeting together, working towards common goals. That's exciting. We've had, admittedly, between all of us, silos between our groups and what we do, and yet we have so many common things that each one of these three groups does. So if you're curious or you want to lend a helping hand, I'd love to see you there tomorrow night. It's at 7 o'clock in the first floor room. I always talk about the Friends of Rec in the skating rink, and we're out of ice for the season for sure now, promise. And we are.
Sorry, well, I don't.
That's a nice interruption. We're betting on it, but the rink is, remember, an all-season rink. I was in Dearborn Heights yesterday and watching a bunch of kids playing roller hockey in their rink, and they've got a rink that's almost as nice as ours. So watch for good things to happen here at that. 3 people tonight came up and said, I don't know where you learned how to cook a steak, but that's the best steak I ever had. I'm bragging now. But the last event was a great event, and we're going to have another one in July, so get your taste buds ready. That's the end of my report.
Didn't mean to interject, but I'd just like to remind my mother's caveat, don't plant before Mother's Day. Michigan will surprise you every single time.
I'll take that bet.
Okay. That concludes our trustee reports. Mr. Assorti.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This board is well aware of the ongoing litigation with the Albemarle Apartments over on Real Road, asking the Third Circuit Court to approve our previously determination that it is a dangerous building and to be demolished. We met with Judge Brian Sullivan today in another status conference. The good news that I have for you is that the owners of the property, in conjunction with working with the court to try to figure out a way to get the money to demolish those 2 buildings, has had the building, the entire property for sale for a while now. There's 2 offers on the building, or there's 2 offers on the property in total. Both of those, while they're still in early development stages, both of those have a plan for specific demolition that we would incorporate into a court order. The judge set us at 30 days, so to be back on the 20th of May. He fully expects us to come back at that time with a plan that we put in the form of a court order. I would certainly hope that by then I'm reporting to you that it's done. Nothing will happen, of course, without your authority or approval, but I think that we just crossed a major hurdle and made some substantial improvements towards getting those buildings torn down without incurring the cost to the township up front, with the potential of never getting it back. And I can answer any questions about the lawsuit if you have them.
Let us know when you need board action. I'm sorry, Trustee.
Yeah, I have a question on another matter, just on the Burkhart. Is the Burkhart matter over?
There's still a pending appeal on one of the discovery motions that was filed. Let's just say that due to the timing of the manner in which the appeal was filed and the delay in obtaining, under the court rules, the requirement to obtain the transcript that the other side was reminded of by the court that they had to obtain, that still isn't there. We're still waiting from a final determination from the Court of Appeals. Since on that particular appeal, since we do have an order from the Court of Appeals affirming the previous decision of the Third Circuit Court, which denied all actions and dismissed the matter.
Thanks.
All right.
Follow that. Thank you, Mr. Assorti. Town manager report. Mr. Riem.
Good evening. That's like explaining the first part is connected to the second part, but is not part of the third part, but sometimes part of the fourth. Is that right?
wish it was simpler, trust me.
I'm sorry, Tom, I had to do that. I have a few brief items before, so I'd like to invite Tammy Taylor from the Historical Society up to give the board and the community a presentation, if you will, about the historic tree designation program that the Historical Society has put together. So, Tammy?
Supervisor Loftus, trustees. I'm here representing the Historical Society. Just to give you a little background on the historic tree designation program, in 1964, Howard Harvey and a botanist or an arborist from Michigan State University put together a list of about, I'm going to guess, 100 trees that the board at that time approved to protect. Of those 100 trees, probably 50 or less are left on the island. We were approached by the Nature and Land Conservancy 2 years ago when a tree on Bellevue was taken down without the permission of one of its owners. The tree was damaged in a storm, and it was taken down because of the damage. To relook at what our policy was based on the township ordinance. So the township ordinance states that a tree can be, that the following criteria will be used to determine if a tree is eligible for designation as a Groseal heritage tree. To be designated as a heritage tree, the tree must pass at least one of the following tests. It must be a memorial tree, a historical tree, a tree deemed by the Groseal Historical Society or other recognized historical society to be of historical significance, an endangered tree, or a Groseal big tree. So I'm here tonight to talk to you about historical trees and what the Historical Society, after the event happened with the tree, we got together as a society and put together a designation procedure policy. I believe that Mr. Graham gave each of you a copy of that. The Historical Society in October approved this process. The society defines a historical tree as a tree that has historic or cultural significance to Groseal. The mission of the Groseal Historical Society is to preserve and protect the history of Groseal, and we firmly believe that that history is in its buildings, in its people, and in the nature around us also. So trees would definitely be included in that. The procedure that we developed is pretty straightforward. Anyone on Groseal can nominate a historic tree to us. All the nominations must be submitted to our board by February 28th of each year. Each nomination must be complete. Each nominee must complete an application documenting the significance of the tree and why it's being nominated. And I believe in your package you also have a copy of our application. Our board then will review the applications in March, and then based on those applications, approve those. We will then present the owners of those trees plaques to put on those trees at our annual Centennial Home Program in May. What we think is very important is the board's support of that. We can, based on the township ordinance, designate a historic tree 100 times. But unless the board or the township starts supporting the significance of these trees and does not allow contractors to cut these trees down, our program really doesn't do anything. One example that I have is there is a tree on Church that a week ago, and I don't know the full story, I'm still trying to get the full story, it was not a designated tree, it was a white oak tree. The tree is at least 200 to 300 years old. Somebody complained that the roots of a tree were pushing up the sidewalk. Wayne County came in and chopped a white oak down. It was the wrong tree and did it without the owner's permission. This homeowner purchased the home because he loved the tree. Now, some people might think that's a very silly reason to purchase a home. Some people may not. But the point is that it is a significant tree on the island, and it was taken down without the homeowner's approval. It's got to stop. We have trees that are protected on this island that have been protected since 1964, and we need to educate the community and continue to prevent these trees from coming down. our next step of society is we are going to go and take that list of 100 trees and find out which ones still exist, which ones don't. We are then going to plaque those trees as historic trees. We will provide the township with a list of the trees that exist. They are already protected under your ordinance. We feel very strongly that the township should continue to protect those trees. Then we're going to continue to educate the public on the significance of these trees and try to get the public to support the trees that are in their yards and to come forth with us with historic trees. Now, I know the Nature and Land Conservancy are working on the 3 other protected trees, so the memorial trees, the endangered trees, and the large trees. We didn't get involved in that. We strictly, based on the ordinance, got involved with the historical tree portion of it. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Questions for Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Trustee
Who you're
Melba.
talking about, all of a sudden it was down. I didn't know, initially you see a tree that size, you think that perhaps it was diseased and there was a big rotted hole in the middle of it and it was going to, and I see that wasn't the case. But at Wayne County it came in. Now, am I right or wrong? Was it on Wayne County right away or was it on the property owner?
I don't know. I can't answer that question 100%. I have been told it's not, and it wasn't, but that's only what I've been told. Looking at it, it doesn't look like it was, but I can't make that judgment. I don't know.
I'd appreciate it if you'd let us know what your findings are. That was that tree's probably almost 4 feet diameter.
Yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful tree. And from what I understand is that somebody complained that a tree the roots were pushing up the sidewalk, and they actually chopped down the wrong tree. They took down the wrong tree. So I know that the homeowners filed a police report, so I don't know where it's going to go or what's going to happen with it. Now, I know our ordinance says that if a tree of significance is cut down, whomever cuts it down has to plant another tree, but that doesn't replace...
We don't have 200 years to wait.
We don't have, exactly. And that's why we really need to make sure that these trees get designated and are protected.
All right, thank you, but please come back and let us know.
I will try to find out.
Thank you.
Well, Trustee Pozia.
Thank you. The Greenways Open Space Committee would advise you that we have some heritage trees inside our greenways and open spaces, and it looks like your tree selections are on public properties only.
Our tree selection for a historical standpoint are on personal property, correct. If a tree is deemed historical that's on public property, we would have to look at that, and somebody would have to nominate it, and we'd have to discuss that at that point with the township. The Nature and Land Conservancy, I believe, are going to come and speak to the board in June, is the last I heard. They are talking about heritage trees. They're putting in place a process for heritage trees, memorial trees, and endangered trees.
My point was, earlier I mentioned that we had 3 committees coming together tomorrow night to support common goals, and those common goals seem to be pathways and connecting open spaces with hard paths and soft paths, and talking about protecting the open spaces. We'd love to have somebody from your group make a presentation at that group.
Okay.
There is strength in numbers.
Agreed.
I would love to see all 4 groups fighting to preserve what is naturally Grosse Ile. That's what makes us Grosse Ile.
Okay.
Thank you.
Invited.
Thank you. I will try to be there. I'll get the information after.
Other questions, comments for Mrs. Taylor? Very nice presentation.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the information. Dale.
Told you, Mr. Supervisor, I told you I had a few brief comments. I would like to update the Township Board and the community. I'd mentioned at the previous meeting that there was a rezoning hearing in Trenton for the McLeod site. I didn't include it into your township board packet, but it was emailed to you, where we had the planning consultant write a letter of concern to the Trenton Planning Commission related to the potential negative impacts that we experience regionally and in our community. That was put on record. I know Supervisor Loftus attended that hearing, and the city administrator informed me that he would expect that the Planning Commission would recommend denial and ultimately go to the City Council. And I'm not sure where that is in that process, but our voice was heard. And I don't know, Mr. Loftus, is there anything that you could add to that?
I can just say the consensus of the Planning Commission. It was erroneously reported that the Planning Commission voted unanimously against it. They did not vote that night because they were hit with a deluge of documents by one of the interested parties, and their due diligence, of course, would require them to read those documents before they made a decision. But it was, I can say I sensed consensus. Nobody who spoke on the Planning Commission then seemed to have any inkling that they were going to rezone that McLeod DSC property from its current multi-use back to I-3, which is heavy industrial. I just didn't see that, and I'm pretty confident. Well, Mr. Wagner would tell us if there was a sea change in the other direction. It doesn't look like we're going to see a change in the zoning of that particular parcel.
That's continuing through process, and we'll keep everyone up to date as we are made aware as well. I'd like to update everyone regarding the Township Hall insurance claim status for the mold remediation and hallway rebuild. You may have noticed that the lobby area is put back together. The baseboards are down. Tammy, you guys can come back anytime down in the lobby. They just finished that at the end of last week. And the main hallway area is still open. That is the area that we're waiting for the insurance company. After presenting lots of documents, back and forth with questions, now it is my turn to respond to the insurance company again. So that process is continuing back and forth. Let's see. Recreation maintenance building, the delivery is expected in a couple weeks. So most site work is completed. That's progressing. And on the overhead, you see a poster. Roseville Connect, as I talked about last meeting, we have not prepared our official launch. And I guess I'll say our next meeting, May 9th, there will be a formal presentation. We've been doing our internal training. The police department has been working through their process and procedures for dispatch doing push notifications, and which is the beauty of this app. And we will be putting full force on marketing beginning in a few weeks because we're still working out our internal processes. But the push notification, I want to remind everyone, is a great way to receive information on emergency notifications, or should I say safety notifications. We will push that message to you. You will have an alarm go off on your phone. So the main idea behind it is if there's a lengthy delay at the bridges, i.e. a coal freighter, you could be leaving your home, you get an alarm, you know what's going on, you can plan accordingly. We will not, and are not planning on just for the occasional recreational boat traffic. Those turns are very, very short-lived. But that will be a decision that they'll make at the police department. But obviously the coal freighters are late to delay. And when I talk about this, everyone asks, what about the trains? I actually think it came up at the last meeting. We're working on it. We're trying to figure a communication method so we will be able to get that information, and that's just take process working with the other communities as well as the railroad. So we're not even sure how possible that is at this time, but there's definitely interest. So stay tuned, and again, go to the App Store or Google Play and download Roseville Connect and tell 2 friends and so on and so on. So very excited about that. And I believe, yes, sir, that is all. Any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Just briefly, how many people have signed up so far for the Groseal?
I think Friday we were over 500. Ted, he in the control room. I think that's just been word of mouth at this point in time and what little talking we've done. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Dale. Question. On your push for like the bridge, is that strictly the county bridge? Is that will be both bridges and
both
message?
Bridges.
The message that will be coming through, would it say that there's a boat that is southbound through the toll bridge?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you know that
it'll be in real time.
Okay, but I mean it's
yeah,
it just left the county bridge and it's heading north, right? So you can. All right, I just wondered just how
it's toll bridge or county bridge.
Yeah, how much in depth it would be. The notification would be.
Yeah.
Still part of the learning process. So we're.
Thank you. And then.
I did, and this is what I'm going to lead off my I like to lead off with good news. But, okay, so thank you, Mr. Riem. Supervisor's report, bunch of odds and ends. I even managed to do this without Carol lining everything up for me. But starting out with the SafeWise report, once again, I'm just proud as could be, and I'm, Chief, pass it on to the guys because this, and then Chairman Blesher is here also. SafeWise, the Home Safety and Security Advisor, rated Groseal Township is the number 26th safest community in the United States. We were number 31 last year. Based against, these are communities of population over 10,000. That number may become important, but and we look at violent crimes, 4 categories: murder, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault. So violent crimes per 1,000 people, 0.1. Property crimes, burglary, larceny/theft, motor vehicle theft, and arson, 4.04 per 1,000, which put us number 26 in the entire United States. So. I just checked it today, and I'd seen 25, and then when I rechecked it, it was at 26. Oh, up 5 from last year. So we're moving in the right direction, and we're near the top. I don't know how much safer we could possibly be, but anyway, good job, Groseal Police. Good job, Groseal community, keeping an eye on each other. Police job is much easier when the residents won't tolerate crime, and it's easier not to tolerate crime when we know we have police force that'll be there to back people up. So it's a good community effort. Mr. Posiak referenced Dump the Junk on April 30th and May 1st. Things they will take, things they won't take, but it's mostly household waste. No electronics and no cement. So, Woody, I carried your message. For those of you who have some of those items that are hazardous, Wayne County will have another one they had one on the 23rd. They will have another hazardous collection in June. Got the flyer in here somewhere. It'll be in June, and it'll be at Hedford Community College. So please dispose of your household hazardous waste accordingly. Wait till June, and here's the flyer. This is also available in the back of the room, but for Dump the Junk, no chemicals, oils, concrete, building materials, light bulbs, liquid paints, batteries, gas cylinders, engine or car parts, propane, gas tanks, or any item containing Freon gas. And then the Wayne County one at Henry Ford Community College, June 18th, 8 till 2. They will take household paints, floor wax, furniture polish, pharmaceuticals, non-controlled only, nail polish, fertilizer, antifreeze, automotive batteries, fire extinguisher, smoke detectors, mercury thermometers, thermostats, and elemental mercury. For electronics, which our Dump the Junk will not take, Wayne County will take computers, CPUs, monitors, printers, scanners, keyboards, mice, cell phones, fax machines, copiers, and televisions. For those of you who need to dispose of electronics, computers, monitors, mice, etc., more quickly, Riverview, the Riverview Recycling Center, which is off of Grange and King Roads, will take computers, laptop monitors, accessories, network equipment, copiers, fax machines, but not televisions. So, got computer stuff to get rid of. You can get rid of it tomorrow at Riverview. Televisions, wait till Wayne County, June 18th. The other stuff, Dump the Junk. It's involved. We're trying to make it easy for you. Easy stuff. Continuing the story of what's going on at McLeod, some of you pointed out there was a ship offloading there today. It was a scheduled arrival. They were offloading bulk sugar. I don't know anything more about that. We discussed that earlier. What is an ocean freighter coming in doing unloading bulk sugar? I don't know, but the Port Authority knows about it. The city knows about it, and that's what it is. It's nothing. It's not a controlled substance, not a hazardous substance. It's sugar. Let's see. East River Water Main. Mostly, I've gotten several compliments on how well that project is being run. We have one complaint, and I'm sorry, we had a definite scarcity of fire hydrants along the stretch of East River Road. At some points, over 1,000 feet between hydrants. And again, imagine firefighters stretching hose 500, 600, 700 feet in the miserable weather, which just seems to be when all the fires seem to hit, to fight the fire at your house. We've added more fire hydrants, and I'm just going to apologize up front. We have one resident who was unhappy. She felt she was blindsided by the installation of the hydrant on her lawn. She has a beautiful lawn. I'm sure the hydrant will lower her home insurance rates and make her home safer, and it's there. And it's there for your protection and for your neighbor's protection. So, I've got one 50 feet from my front door. I'm proud of it. I clear the snow away in the winter. May save my life. International Wildlife Refuge Alliance. That dinner is coming up on May 14th. It's at Ford Yacht Club. It's a great time if you're interested in developments in refuge, in the Welcome Center. We have a lot of elected officials way above my pay grade attending that. Learn a lot about the refuge, learn a lot about the refuge system. 75 per person, 125 per couple. Everything you want to know about wildlife in the local area. It's a good time. Hope to see a lot of you there. April 30th, next weekend, is the Tails Walk and Run. Have flyers for most of these. Let's see, 5K run and 1 mile fun run walk. Both events at start and finish Centennial Farm. Entry fees $20, $10. One starts at, the fun run starts at 9 a.m. and the fun run walk at 10:30 a.m. Bring your well-behaved pets. It's a great fundraiser for our animal shelter, which is run on donations. Bike to School, Wednesday, May 4th. Rain date is 6th of May. So on those days, watch for a lot of kids on bikes. Again, when we did it last year, I saw Meridian. It was packed with bicycles. Great use of our bike path, and get kids on bikes instead of riding the bus or walking to school. It's great for everybody. During Island Fest, the Juried Art Show. They want me to push this out 20th through the 22nd of May, so all through Island Fest. There is a juried art show that's available. Information that's available on the Grosse Ile Alliance for the Arts website, or check with Chad. He knows about all that stuff. Island-wide, if I leave out the garage sale, I'll be in a heap of trouble. So the Island-wide garage sale, if you're end of summer, it's time to purge, 19th to 20th of August. Please register for that. We'll have thousands of people on the island looking to sell stuff. This is the time for you to get topped out for the stuff you don't want to store anymore. And that concludes my report. With that, not much else going on, so we'll open it up to public comment. Mrs. Taylor.
Got a couple things.
Welcome back.
Just representing the Historical Society, on May 15th we have a historic walk starting at 2 o'clock from the Depot campus grounds. We're going to walk up to the historic homes, talk about the historic homes in the historic home district. Then we're going to walk back and go into St. James, and the historian at St. James is also going to be talking to whomever comes. Refreshments will be served afterwards, so please come and join us if you're interested. Just give me a call or email the Historical Society, and we'll get you on the list. And then just to follow up on a comment that Dale made, the Historical Society is redoing all photographs and the museum and Township Hall for the Naval Air Station. We're going to move the uniforms around, put up some different displays, work on that in a more chronological order, and also talk more about the Naval Air Station during the Vietnam and Korean War eras, which we don't have a lot of. The previous display did not. The grand reopening for that, and it sounds like it's it's a long time away, but a lot of work, is going to be Veterans Day 2016. So we will be redoing all the photographs. We have the other part of the mural, the oil painting mural, that has been donated to us, so refurbishing that. We're going to frame that and get that up there. So it'll look a lot different. It is going to take us a while. And I will give a shout out to the Girl Scout troop on the island, because they're helping us with all the photographs, putting the frames together, digitizing photographs, and doing the work. So I just wanted to put in those two public announcements real quick since I was here.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Other public comment? All right, none offered. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Budney, seconded by Trustee Malvesto. Those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? None offered. We'll call it closed at 8:58. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Mr. Loftus.